Hey, this is Lou Mangello from WDW Radio, and you're listening to the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. Let's do this.
The tangents we continue all the way to episode 441 of the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. Okay, I'm getting a lot of negative energy from you, and I don't like it. Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. So glad you joined us. Let's start off like a new record with virtual table and see who's joined us this week.
This is Holly from Wisconsin.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Yes, we're a few voices short this week. This is just this time of year.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's just gonna, if it's not one thing or it's another. Brittany works retail, which, granted, she works Monday through Friday most of the time, which is good, but we're going to the holiday season, so extended working hours, overtime, that sort of thing. So Brittany has to get up at ass crack a clock for work.
Oh, stupid o'clock.
Yes. So if she's smart, if she's not already in bed, she will be soon.
Yes.
And then Chrissy's got a sore throat. So
yeah, that was me 2 weeks ago when you were off seeing Metallica. Yeah. I had what Chrissy's got and couldn't talk. So it's no fun.
'Tis a season.
Yes.
For all the gross stuff.
Yes.
Among other things. So that being said, we shall soldier on. So first up, just a little bit of news looking to the 2024 convention season. The folks over at PopCon have updated a few things. So the PopCon Indy is still on track for the end of April of 2024, which I know is really soon comparatively to what we're used to. But it all comes down to the convention center and when they have openings, and they give priority to other groups over PopCon, even though PopCon's been doing this for 10 years.
Yep, less than 6 months away. Yowza.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, event, I think we say this every year because the date changes every year. People are like, but at least for the Indianapolis Convention Center, I can't speak for all convention centers, but from what I understand, they give priority in events like Gen Con, which are signed on for the next 5 million years, are already penciled in for early August, essentially, for the next century.
Basically a permanent Las Vegas residency, in other words.
Pretty much. And then we also, it alternates between the men and the women's, but we host the Big Ten tournament.
That's right. Yep.
Every year. We also, FFA has their big convention here every year. The firefighters have their big convention here every year. So there are several large events that make the convention center a hell of a lot more money than PopCon, so they get dibs. And plus the marching band competitions in the fall, so such fun. So yes, PopCon for Indy is at the end of April, and then Louisville has moved. It was going to be in June. Now it is moved to late August, but it has also moved locations from the convention space over by the fairgrounds to the Kentucky International Convention Center, which is in downtown Louisville, near the KFC Yum Center.
Ooh, hey.
So
not bad.
It'll be a little nicer because since it's downtown, there's a lot of hotels within walking distance, if not attached, which was not the case with this year in Louisville. So yeah.
Upgrade.
Yes. Yeah. A lot of people are like, "Yay, more food options," which that is definitely true.
That too.
And that's a very nice, convention center. So they remodeled in the last, I don't know how many years, but I was quite impressed with it when I went back in 2019. So there is that. And then really, other than that, we have in your feeds newest episode of Gold Standard with our 90th Best Picture winner, which is crazy to think about.
Right, 10 more and you hit triple digits.
Well, the Oscars haven't even gotten to triple digits yet, so we'll get there when they get there.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but the 2017 Guillermo del Toro directed film, The Shape of Water. And then for our Patreon supporters of Gold Standard, this month's Patreon episode is now over in that feed for you with the 2000 Cameron Crowe directed film, Almost Famous.
Ooh, I can't wait to listen to that one. That's one of my favorite music-based films.
Yes, it's got a very good soundtrack.
Yes, it does. And there's one scene in particular I love with a certain Sir Elton number.
Yeah.
Not that I'm showing my hand or anything.
I mean, there's several Sir Elton John songs used, but yeah, the sing-along is quite fun.
Mm-hmm. And one little more bit of housekeeping. I'm not sure when this episode is going to drop, but we are a few days away from the poll for December's book club book choice poll being closed. So if you haven't already gone and voted yet, please do so.
Mm-hmm. Yes, hopefully.
Just wanted to put it out there.
Hopefully we'll get this up in a day or two of us recording like I usually do. Along with the loss of access to Zoom, I also had to change my access to all of my editing software. So
fun.
Yeah. So it's like I'm still using the same software, but I had to change all my like logins and stuff and update everything to the newest version because I wasn't even using the newest version. So that was fun.
Which can be a pain in the you-know-what.
Yeah, especially when your computer starts telling you that its hard drive is completely full.
It's like, but I can't delete anything.
Yes, and I was like, Chauncey had to like practically emergency order me external hard drives because all of the external drives that I had were getting full, and I still was barely emptying the hard drive on this machine. So
basically, Chauncey was doing
almost 10 years of podcasting and more than a decade of having a YouTube channel. I've generated a lot of content, and it's at the moment spread out all over the place. I need to get it so that it's a little easier to find if I ever need to dive into the archives for anything. So it's like
basically Chauncey was doing his best impersonation of Montgomery Scott.
Yes. No more power and in Montgomery.
Yes.
Yes. So
thank you, Chauncey.
Yes. Yes. When I had to you make a lot of digital content when you have to upgrade from a 1 terabyte hard drive to a 6.
Holy Hannah.
Yes.
I didn't know they made such a big number of an external hard drive.
Yep.
Good to know.
Yep. And it's a good thing that he went ahead and was like, yeah, actually they have bigger, but he decided to go with the 6, and I'm glad he went with that and not another 1 because the 6 is already, if it had been a 1, it would already be a quarter full. So,
Youch.
So yes, I'm glad that he went with this. Thank you, Western Digital #, not sponsor.
They make good external hard drives.
Yeah. Gladly take a Western Digital sponsorship, please and thank you. So anyway. On to feedback. Of course, we've got back from Shalane.
Yay, hey, Shalane.
Yes, she says, well, it's about time you girls finally got to Frozen. I don't think necessarily meant it that way. That's just the way I interpreted it. Because I've been sitting here and waiting since it came out in the movie theater. I thought you girls were going to talk about it when the pandemic hit, but we didn't. Now I can give you the feedback I've been saving since it came out. First, specifically, she's referring to Frozen 2.
Okay.
Yeah. First, when I saw Frozen 2, where they found out about what happened to their parents, I guess I got tired of the Frozen and Tarzan theory and showed what really happened to Anna and Elsa's parents. It also is just like Once Upon a Time storyline, but different. They show how Elsa got her powers. The mother came from an enchanted forest, not from the Once Upon a Time forest. Yes. And the father came from a royal family. Now we know about the opening number title songs from the first Frozen that sound like Lion King came from. The village people where Anna and Elsa's mom came from the song in the second movie. Also, both Frozen 2 and Once Upon a Time, Anna and Kristoff got engaged and are getting married. Yes, they are. Now let's move on to the songs. Elsa got not one, but songs that are earworms. One time I was watching the making of Frozen 2 and the crew were asking me to watch a song that was going to be a huge hit, Into the Unknown or Show Yourself. But they were both successful songs along with Lost in the Woods. Let them tell you, Lost in the Woods is quite a boy band song similar to NSYNC and Backstreet Boys and like the Easter egg of Bohemian Rhapsody. We also got a little Easter egg of Let It Go, and I love how Elsa is like, no way, that song is done. Also, Idina Menzel and Jonathan Groff have chemistry. They were in Glee years before Frozen. Yes, they were. And they've also both been in very, very successful Broadway shows. Idina in Wicked, and then Mr. Groff in Hamilton.
Minus the John Travolta mispronunciation during one said award show.
Yes. Yeah. Before Frozen 2, and since the first movie, we got 2 shorts of Frozen. Frozen comes to Once Upon a Time, and Frozen got a Broadway show. Stage production is coming to the theater company I work at next summer, along with Anastasia. Very cool. A ride at Disneyland, and so much more. After Frozen 2, we got more fun things in the Disney parks and a little Olaf shorts. Speaking of shorts, I think you girls talked a little about Frozen Fever. Have we talked about Olaf's Frozen Adventures and Once Upon a Snowman and Olaf Presents? No, we did not. So, maybe we should at some point. We should talk about like our favorite shorts from different things.
Ooh. That would be a good
since shorts are becoming
topic.
like a very common thing. Like we've got all the Olaf shorts, now we've got the Groot shorts. So
we've got some of the little Star Wars shorts. We got some other Marvel. Yep. We'll add that to the ever-growing list.
About the pants that don't go all the way to your knees. I also read that Anna and Elsa are honorary Disney princesses, along with Mirabelle from Encanto, but Anna and Elsa is on my Disney princess list, and Mirabelle's on my non-Disney princess list. Plus, Aisha from Disney Wish is going to be a Disney princess. Yeah, the Disney princess official Disney princess list. They stopped doing coronations after Merida from Brave, and they may or may not bring that back eventually. But I guess Disney's not too concerned about it for now. So, especially considering they would have to like adjust it so it's Disney princesses and queens. Because technically Elsa was queen, and then she kind of abdicated, and now Anna is queen of Arendelle. So it's like, that's probably why they stopped, because they were like, oh, what, we can't, that would get confusing even for the people that know better. So I don't know. I'm just guessing. So it has been amazing that they got Broadway actresses to be part of the Disney family, like Idina Menzel, Jonathan Groff, Judy Kuhn, and now Ariana DeBose, because she was in Hamilton in the new West Side Story movie, and I like her in West Side Story. She sounds amazing for Wish. Also, Ariana was in stage production of Hairspray. Yeah. Also, is good that Jennifer Lee, the director of Frozen, came and turned over being chairman of Walt Disney Animated Studio after John Lasseter retired. Plus, Frozen and Wish are directed by Chris Buck. Frozen came out for the 90th anniversary of Disney, and Wish was released for the 100th. Plus, Frozen came out during the 10th anniversary of Wicked, both starring Idina Menzel. Since this year is the 20th anniversary of Wicked, next year we finally get a movie of Wicked with it all started. All-star, and it is a 2-part movie. Yes. Yeah, it's going to be an all-star cast. Since The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and The Lion King were the crown jewels of the Disney Renaissance, The Princess and the Frog, Tangled, Frozen, along with Wreck-It Ralph, Big Hero 6, Zootopia, and Moana are along the crown jewels of the new Disney Renaissance, aka the Disney Revival. Mostly as the Disney princesses are the crown jewels for the new Disney era, but we had Disney, not princess movies like Big Hero 6 and Zootopia. I can't imagine that Wreck-It Ralph would want to be considered a crown jewel of anything. Mm-hmm. I'm sure Vanellope would. Since she is a princess. But somehow I do not think that Ralph would like to be considered a crown jewel of anything. So, although he is friends, they're all friends with the Disney princesses. So, yeah. Crown jewels by association.
Yeah.
Plus, Frozen is the first Disney animation not done by Pixar to win an Oscar for Best Animated Feature, and the first time since Tarzan to win Best OG Song that was not done by Pixar. Fun fact, this is the second Disney movie that the Lopez's won down. The first one was the 2011 Disney movie Winnie the Pooh. Both them, Lin-Manuel Miranda, are like Alan Menken, along making great songs for Disney. Plus, if you girls remember Brian Hull singing Let It Go with Disney voices, yes, he's done that. Fun fact, he got to be in an animated movie since, he was in the Hotel Transylvania. I remember when he made that announcement that he got cast in that. So since Encanto came out, the song We Don't Talk About Bruno has surpassed Let It Go. Yeah. Those are they're two completely different vibes though. So, Alan Tudyk starred in Wreck-It Ralph and came back to Frozen, more Disney animated films like pretty much everything. Big Hero 6, Zootopia, Moana, Ralph Breaks the Internet, Raya and the Last Dragon, Encanto, Strange World, Disenchanted. He was also in Pixar films like Good Dinosaurs, also Star Wars Rogue One, live action Aladdin. He was Iago, the new Peter Pan, and Wendy, and more. He's similar to Pixar's John Ratzenberger, and I think John retired after Onward. I don't think Ratzenberger has retired from doing voices. I don't think I've heard that. But yes, Alan Tudyk is the John Ratzenberger of Disney animation that is not Pixar. So a couple episodes ago in the trailer for Wish Drop, you girls finally talked about a Disney animated origin movie that's not a sequel. I just started college when Frozen came out. I remember the teaser trailer for it, and it was hilarious, and Frozen came out. It was amazing. I met a Disney buddy in college class who was so obsessed with Frozen and Wicked. She went to New York City, and she met Idina Menzel. Cool. Sadly, she won't be my friend or let me join her Once Upon a Time club. Aw. But I never saw or heard from her again. Well, that's their loss. Because I've already better Disney and Wicked buddies. Good. Since my next college adventure at a different university, I found better Disney musical friends who are much nicer to me than the last one. That's good. Always upgrade. One of them went to Disneyland 1,000 times and the other worked at Disney World. When I went to Disney World, I didn't meet Anna or Elsa, but I got a picture of the Hedges art in Epcot. Oh, that's cool. The only Disney musical I've seen, counting the ones at the Disney parks, Beauty and the Beast, Tarzan, The Little Mermaid, Newsies, Mary Poppins. I was on crew for that one at the theater company I work at. That's very cool. Plus, it's Disney OG that the theater company did before I worked there, called When You Wish, with all your favorite Disney characters like Snow White, Mary Poppins, The Jungle Book, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Pocahontas, Newsies, Mulan, Tarzan, The Princess and the Frog, Tangled, and Moana. For Tarzan's stage production, they only have the actors dress up as gorillas and birds and other animals. They couldn't do puppets for Tantor the elephant because the Lion King already did puppets. Did you girls by any chance watch the Disney short Once Upon a Studio? I watched it and cried. They had all the characters from all 61 animated films, including Pete the Dragon. it is good that Disney does care about their movies that flop at the box office. Yes, it did make me cry. Very much so. It was very, very cool. But then there's that moment where Mickey's looking at the picture of Walt and you hear feet in the background, which if you're, if you know your Disney trivia, you know that was Walt's favorite song. So that was I'm getting a little teary-eyed thinking about it. So
getting a little dusty. Getting a little dusty too.
Yeah, that was really good. I think it made most people cry actually.
Yeah.
Last thing you girls missed a trailer for the animated film done by Sony that's starring Chris Pratt, Garfield the cat. I don't think we missed that. I think I skipped that on purpose. I keep forgetting to ask you girls that. Did you girls know he was going to voice Garfield the cat? Unfortunately, I think that's pretty much why I skipped it. So, like, Mario, I was good. Lego movie, absolutely. Onward, yes. But find something else to do. I'm sorry. And really, do we need to try to bring Garfield back again?
I wasn't impressed with the other two animated movies.
If Bill Murray couldn't make Garfield happen, what makes you think Chris Pratt can?
Yeah.
So just let us kids have the Garfield cartoon from our childhood and the comic strip itself, and just let it be. Another trailer you girls forgot to mention is the sequel to Inside Out, where we get a new motion, and this one's voiced by Maya Hawkins from Stranger Things. We're going to get 2 Pixar movies next year. Because of the strike, we get one. Their Pixar movie, Elio, is set to release in summer of 2025. Yeah, we got a little teaser for Inside Out, too. But that's it. But yeah, I mean... yeah, the emotions that children feel, and now they're gonna have to deal with teenage emotions. Oh lordy. We're not just getting a new emotion, we are getting a whole bunch of new emotions.
That control board is going to be huge.
Yeah. We might even need like a character for just hormones. In general, not a specific emotion, just hormones.
Yeah.
She says, P.S. I'll let the Spider-Verse talk. I'll let the Spider-Verse talk. Wait until we get to either the Marvels and or Loki. P.S.S. Let me calculate the Disney movies from each area you girls have talked about: Golden Era, Snow White; Silver Age, 101 Dalmatians; Dark Age, The Black Cauldron; The Renaissance, Beauty and the Beast; Aladdin; Pocahontas, Hunchback, Hercules, and Mulan; The Millennium, Emperor's New Groove; Atlantis, Lilo and Stitch; Revival, Frozen. And also, don't forget to read the Disney Twisted Tales, Conceal Don't Feel. What if Anna and Elsa never knew each other? I know the Twisted Tales are on the list.
Our list is never ending. It can be not so good, but also a good problem to have.
Yes, exactly. So, but thank you for your feedback, Shalane. And then we got some feedback from Aaron. Subject line is, what if you hate the way he picks his nose and eats it? All men do it. So gross. Hello, my Fiveish hosts. I really like Frozen and didn't expect to when it first came out. I've also seen this 3 different forms. Starting with the movie, I found myself getting out of the Disney princess movies over the years, mainly because I feel like the destination is almost always the same. Frozen flips this formula. We get a number of the same beats between Anna and Hans, but without those, the payoff wouldn't work as well as it does. The reason I like this movie so much, instead of the true love being between a princess and a man she's known for 16 minutes... It's funny because it's true. It's between 2 siblings.
You're not wrong, Aaron. You're not wrong.
There's so much depth to sibling relationships, and speaking from experience with my own sister, no matter how bumpy it can get, blood is infinitely thicker than water. This being Disney's answer to the true love trope is what I adore most. Me too. I haven't watched the sequel mainly because I just don't care to see my thoughts of the original tarnish. Maybe it's just as good, but I can't find it in me to give it a try. And as far as the live action adaptation goes, I really balk at the Michael Sheen casted opportunity. But if Alan Tudyk doesn't reprise his role of Duke of Wesselton, I riot.
I think there's quite a few of us that would die on that hill there.
I know. I'm just saying, as far as looks are concerned, I think Michael could pull it off better. So, but that's just me. So, Alan Tudyk, he's tall and lanky, and I mean the Duke of Weaseltown is kind of lanky, but he's got a very round head, which Alan Tudyk does not have.
But the beard, the
big handlebar mustache.
I don't know if Tudyk could pull it off. I need to see more evidence.
And we know that. Michael Sheen could. Michael has done a lot of facial hair in his career.
Prodigal Son, staged.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, anyway. Second, years ago, I saw Disney Frozen on ice when my eldest nephew was young and fell in love with the movie. It was an odd production because they took the first 45 minutes of the movie and stretched it out to almost an hour and a half. They took the remaining hour and crammed it into about 20 minutes. The two things I remember most, one of the two leads face planted on the ice during a routine, but very elegantly recovered. And then my nephew sitting on my sister's lap, gleefully screaming, "Let go," over and over again. These days, as a tough, cool 12-year-old, he hates it when his younger sister wants to watch it. Finally, I also saw Frozen on Broadway back in August. I really enjoyed both it and the adult beverage they were selling to tie into the show. Gotta love a themed beverage.
Uh-huh.
Take care, Aaron. Thank you, Aaron.
Thanks, Aaron.
For your feedback, as always. So does that mean you pick your nose and eat it? Because you said all men do it. Just saying. All right. Well, with that, we are going to sound the spoiler alert. Because we are sticking with the House of Mouse, but moving over to the MCU. With the Marvels. Which I managed to finally see after a week and a half of being out, and I did not get spoiled. So go me!
Yoo-hoo! That's quite the feat.
I was very nervous. I was very nervous that I was gonna get spoiled on something. So thankfully that did not happen. I don't know if that's because it's done so badly in the box office or what.
Which is a shame.
So then that means there's not as much online chatter, and therefore I'm less likely to get spoiled. I don't know. Yeah, it is a shame. It is very much a shame, unfortunately, as we were discussing in the chat. That I know in general there is quote unquote superhero fatigue. People are kind of done with superhero movies in general, not just the MCU, but this is the 33rd film in the MCU. So that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. It is Samuel L. Jackson's 15th appearance in the MCU, if you count TV and film. The various series that he's made appearances in. So that is a lot. That is a lot in one universe. 33 films, and that's just films. That doesn't even count, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the Inhumans, and Agent Carter, and what's the other? Was it Cloak and Dagger?
I think so.
Yeah, Runaways.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of those I've actually watched yet. I need to. And then all the Disney Plus shows. So there's a lot, and I also know some people are like, they're into it, but for some reason or another, they've fallen behind. And I'm sure some people feel like, oh, well, if I'm this far behind, what's the point in trying to catch up? Which I understand that too. Although with this particular movie, actually, you don't really need to know a whole lot going into this one to be able to understand what's happening. So, because they do a pretty good job of explaining both Monica and Kamala's backstories and where their powers come from. So, so that helps. So you could actually jump into this one, no problem. I think.
Oh yeah.
If you're a little behind, it would not be that big a deal. So that being said, if you have been keeping up, there's a lot more you're going to catch. So I saw nods and winks and wink, wink, nudge, nudge to various things. So, but yeah, this is, a very female-driven film. Nia DaCosta. She is the fourth woman to direct an MCU film. After Anna Boden did Captain Marvel, Kate Shortland did Black Widow, and Chloe Zhao did The Eternals. Nia is also the first Black woman to direct a Marvel Studios movie. She's also has a writing credit as well. So the screenplay was actually written by three women, Nia DaCosta, Megan McDonnell, and Elisa Karasik. I think I'm pronouncing that right, hopefully. Which Elisa was actually a writer on Loki. So that's good. And then Megan has written for WandaVision. So they kind of know what they're doing around the MCU. So although Nia comes actually from a horror background, because she did the 2021 remake / soft reboot of Candyman. So, but I think this was written really well. Like I said, it's easy to follow. This is also the shortest MCU film at 1 hour and 45 minutes. The next shortest, which I cannot remember off the top of my head, is 1 hour and 52 minutes. And I think there's a couple that clock in at about that. I think one of them is Thor: The Dark World, and then The Incredible Hulk. So those are worth 1 hour and 52 minutes a piece. But this brings together Monica Rambeau, the daughter of Maria Rambeau, who was Carol's best friend back in the 90s when they were in the Air Force. Of course, now Monica is all grown up, and she has not seen Carol for a very long time, since Carol left at the end of Captain Marvel. And then we know from WandaVision that Monica got blipped. So she lost 5 years, and her mom, unfortunately, died from cancer during that. And then Kamala Khan, who we met in the Ms. Marvel Disney Plus series, who is a mutant and therefore has latent abilities that we see in this movie she is able to use without the bangle. But the bangle is just kind of what woke it up and kickstarted it, which is kind of what was explained to her towards the end of the Ms. Marvel series. That her DNA is not the same as a regular human. She is a mutant, which that is important for a number of reasons.
Yes.
And then we see the return of Nick Fury after being bugged from his pseudo vacation after the incidents in Spider-Man Far From Home, and then the blip. She got blipped, and all of the stuff, which I guess this was supposed to come out. This film was supposed to come out before Secret Invasion, and therefore it would be easier to explain, I guess, the Skrulls. Honestly, I don't think it really matters, because I don't think having the Skrulls in this was really a surprise.
Not really.
I honestly, I think the fact that the Skrulls, after everything, are still trying to find a place to live is not like anything earth-shattering, I don't think. So honestly, I think this works either way, especially considering the damage that the Saber base takes in this. I think it would make more sense to have this after Secret Invasion, because then it's like, you would have to be like, oh, well, they got everything fixed.
Right.
But in this case, it's like, oh, everything happened in Secret Invasion. He went back up, then all this shit went down, which I was saying at the end of Secret Invasion, where he took his wife, and we're all like, yeah, we're going to go be diplomatic and stuff with the Skrulls and the Kree. And then here we see some of the fallout of that, seeing that Nick Fury, that was a pipe dream, thinking that you could have diplomatic peace talks between these two factions. So
yeah, kind of like the Vulcans and the Romulans, name your species or groups that are, it's just like, yeah, we're going to be diplomatic, but we're still going to have the knives behind the back and fingers crossed, and just don't turn your back, because we're going to attack.
Yeah. So I actually think this still works, having this come out after Secret Invasion. And you can just be like, where's Nick Fury's wife? Well, she was off doing something somewhere else. That's easy enough to explain away.
Or Nick got the lead on something else was going down, and sweetie, you need to take a vacay.
Or that, something. So maybe we find out she's allergic to cats. I don't know.
There we go. Or the Furkin variety. Yeah. Oh boy. We'll be getting to that.
Yeah. Just remember what I said when we've talked about musicals recently in the past, and the ones I like and don't like.
It went there.
So, but because Carol, Monica, and Kamala's powers are all based in light, using the light spectrum in some form or fashion, they end up getting intertwined, and they have the whole thing where if they use their powers in a certain way, they end up switching places, which ends up becoming quite comical in some cases, and not so much in others. It's a good thing that S.H.I.E.L.D. / Saber has really good insurance, because the destruction that happened to the Khan house, which, other than, okay, I am not Indian, obviously, or Middle Eastern of any kind. I'm not Indian or Pakistani or any of that. I am white. So I totally am speaking from just outsider experience with a few Indian friends that I've had in my life. I understand that they are very communal, and family really likes to be together. They will get together for meals and any occasion that they can get together. So I can understand why Kamala's brother may have been over there when all of this went down. But at the same time, when they had to relocate, he's married. Why is he? That was like a plot point in the Miss Marvel series, was him getting married. Yet all of a sudden they end up at the Rambo house in Louisiana. and his wife is not yet there, yet his mom is all like, this would be a great place to raise a family. Like, shouldn't his wife be involved in some of this?
Yeah. Or
it's
maybe
like,
he's helping.
Does that mean that like they want him to move in there? Or is the entire Khan family moving in there? Because their house in Jersey got absolutely demolished, which is a shame. Considering that was a really nice
subtle
house.
Hint that, where Mama's none so subtle hint is, if we move, you move.
Yeah, I guess he's just gonna have to call his wife. He started to call his wife at one point, and Nick Fury is like, no video chatting in space, So I guess he's just gonna have to call his wife and be like, honey, how do you feel about Louisiana?
Yeah.
The Khans had a really nice house, especially for living in Jersey.
Very nice house.
Yeah. It was still in New Jersey. I'm sorry, New Jersey. I like not having to pump your own gas. That's a nice feature, especially when it gets cold. But yeah, and then, the awkwardness of Monica and Carol not seeing each other since Monica was a little kid. Even though it turns out, we find out in flashbacks that Carol actually did come back at one point. She just saw Maria and not Monica when Maria's cancer came back. And then, of course, Kamala is fangirl over everything.
She's given Phil Coulson a run for the money.
Yeah. Very much so. Yeah. If we need a new, person waving the fan flag in the MCU. Kamala's got it.
Oh yeah.
In spades. So, not that I blame her, because I would be totally the same way. If I suddenly found myself in, like a in space in a spacesuit, I would start screaming too. But the minute I saw Nick Fury, I'd be like, "Hey, Nick Fury!" So,
where do I sign? What NDA do I need to sign?
Yeah, she is all of us as far as, it's like, and the thing is like, she's excited about these people, but at the same time, she's also one of them. And kind of the overall thing of bringing these three characters together is Kamala, who has worshipped Carol for a long time, realizes that while, yes, she is a hero, she's also as human as the rest of us, and therefore fallible and can make mistakes. Meanwhile, Monica has always seen Carol as Aunt Carol and not necessarily a hero, but then realizes how much weight Carol has on her shoulders because of who she is. And they all kind of have to like change where they are in the the spectrum of fandom and hero worship, so that it's more balanced. So that's and even and Kamala sees that too, not just that Carol is human and is fallible, but also it's cliche, but there's a reason the quote has stuck around for as long as it has. With great power comes great responsibility. And Carol has that in spades, because she is an extremely, extremely powerful superhero as far as the MCU is concerned.
Oh yeah.
So she was almost able to take out Thanos single-handedly.
So, yeah.
She is extremely powerful. But I think that the people in charge realize that, like, it's really easy to just be like, have Captain Marvel come in and be the MacGuffin that fixes everything because she's so powerful. This brings her back to Earth a bit more. And puts her closer to the same level as a lot of our other heroes. And it's like, just because she's super powerful does not mean that she can't make mistakes. And she does that in this, coming out of the events in Captain Marvel, where she realizes that, this all-knowing, all-encompassing power that the Kree were living by was bullshit, essentially. So we find out that after she gave her ultimatum to Jude Law, at the end of the Captain Marvel movie, she kept on her promise. She went and destroyed, this supposed, great, all-knowing whatever being, and thought that she was freeing the Kree to think for themselves. And in the process, it's destroyed. It really destroyed a lot of the Kree, like, infrastructure, and was costing them at least one of their planets. Because they weren't able to function. So their planet just went into decay. So then along comes, this Kree military leader, Dar-Ben, who is all like, well, I'm gonna show you, Annihilator, as she would call Carol. And all things concerning, that's a kind of it's obviously a big deal, but it's a kind of a simple thing that she came up with Dar-Ben, using the jump point system and creating permanent open jump points to steal resources from other planets for their own for their own planet. So but in the process, one of those planets is a Skrull refugee colony, and they're not able to stop her from opening up that particular jump point. And while they're able to get a good chunk of the Skrulls off of Tarnax, they weren't able to get all of them, which is where Kamala first realizes that even just being a superhero doesn't mean that you can save everybody. She gets a bit of a wake up call there. But thankfully the Skrulls that they did save are going to be able to find a new place to live, thanks to a little help from someone who knows a thing or two about relocating large communities.
Yep.
With the help of a certain Biofrost.
Yep. When I saw that Rainbow Bridge, I'm like, oh boy, I know where we're going.
Yeah, and she's like, I called a friend, and I'm racking my brain, like, who the hell did she call? And then Valkyrie shows up. I'm like, oh, okay. Yep.
That friend. Yep.
So, we've got New Asgard. I guess Valkyrie's going to help them find some place to, relocate, and then call it, maybe they'll call it New Tarnax. I don't know. Maybe they'll come up with a completely different name. But yeah, if they manage to relocate all the Asgardians, so why not?
Because somebody who has experience. Hey.
Yeah, and again, the fact that this was released after Secret Invasion, again, I don't think really affects it, because nobody ever said, as we saw in Secret Invasion, millions of Skrulls ended up relocating to Earth, which was a huge percentage of the known Skrulls in, I guess, that part of the galaxy. But nobody ever said that every single Skrull had relocated to Earth. So it's really easy to say, well, this is a group of Skrull refugees that just never relocated to Earth. They found this planet instead, and now they're going to relocate again with the help of Valkyrie. So, yeah, again, I think it still works as far as the plots go. So, yeah, because I can't say that. I don't think they could definitively say yes when the Skrull planet was destroyed. Absolutely every single Skrull ever moved to Earth. Yeah. So. Then we find out that Carol got married.
Yep. Called that one as soon as I heard the negotiations. Mom's was like, huh? I was like, I think that means she's married.
A lot. No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hala is the Kree planet. Yeah, Aladna, where the at some point, yeah, Carol had married the prince of the planet it was purely political.
Yeah.
But still, it was really cool to see a planet where they communicate in song, so everything you say has to be sung.
Yep.
It's also very colorful, very beautiful.
Yeah. I loved her dress.
Oh my god, yes. Yes, the dress was so cool, and it was cool to hear Bree sing.
Yep.
That's something that she gets to do a lot.
Nope, she can carry a tune better than I can. Let's just put it that way.
That's something that she does a lot. Yeah, but then I guess the prince is bilingual, so you can actually talk. So, and I was like, he looks so familiar. I was like, where do I know this guy's face from? His name is Park Si-young. He's a South Korean actor. Mostly doing television dramas, in Korea. But I was like, he looks familiar, and I have not sit down and watched the entire movie yet. Obviously, I'm going to have to, because we're going to review it on Gold Standard. But he is in Parasite.
Oh, okay, makes sense.
Yeah,
and just like the gal who played
a few years ago,
who played the Skrull baddie, she was in an episode of Doctor Who. I was like, I know her from somewhere, and I was, for the life of me, I was confusing her with another actress. And then when I saw that, I'm like, okay, that explains it.
Yeah. Yeah, she's been in a few things. So, but yeah, she's in Into the Dalek. So,
yeah,
that episode. So, she's also in the unaired pilot of Sherlock, which is why you haven't seen her, because it was never aired. But there's an unaired pilot for Sherlock. Interesting. And of course, Tessa Thompson coming back as Valkyrie. Lashana Lynch, who played Monica's mother Maria, comes back for flashbacks. And also, well, we'll get to that. Along with some other familiar faces, but we'll get to those. So while the our three girls are teamed up in the midst of all this fighting, and of course montage, because you got to have a montage. In this case, them figuring out how to do the switching in a way that's is less chaotic, and they use it to their advantage. Kamal is also trying to come up with a nickname for Monica that also uses the word Marvel. Doesn't ever quite come up with one. That because first off, Monica doesn't want one. Second of all, in the comics, she's not, Dr. Marvel, Professor Marvel, any of those. She does have, in some comics, she does have a name, but it is not anything. I mean, she has taken on the mantle of Captain Marvel, but that's in Carol's place. That was back in the 80s. But Photon, Pulsar, Spectrum, those have been the names that she's had since the 80s. I also think she should take on Spectrum, honestly, because that's the way that she kind of described her ability anyway, is that she is able to see the different waves of light in the spectrum, the electromagnetic spectrum. So call her Spectrum.
Yes.
So
makes absolute sense.
Yeah. So, well, they're figuring out the best way to team up so that they could stop, Crazy Lady from destroying any more planets. Darben. Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury is on the Saber station, orbiting Earth, and the Saber station is being affected by the breakage that is occurring in the jump point system, because the jump point system stretches like really from one end of our kind of universe to another. And it's all kind of electrically connected. So as that is breaking down because of these forced jump points being added and then open and staying open, it's affecting stuff around it, including the Saber Station. And the Saber Station has Kamala's family on it and a bunch of Saber and Sword employees, and the fancy elevator that we see Nick Fury use in Secret Invasion ends up going down. So all they have is escape pods, but then a bunch of escape pods get destroyed. So then they only end up with like 1 or 2 escape pods, and there's hundreds of people on this station. And oh my goodness, what are we going to do? How are we going to get these people to escape? Well, it turns out that Goose has been acting weirder than usual. And that's because Goose is going to have babies.
Yeah, when we babies, we mean babies.
Yes, like hundreds. Maybe not hundreds, but at least dozens.
Yes.
Dozens.
We're talking almost the equivalent of tribbles.
Yes. Of Fleur kittens. Have suddenly taken over this station. But that's okay, because
Kamala's mom kind of seemed to know kind of right off the bat when she was when Goose was acting strange. Like,
she's like, what are you feeding that thing? Because Goose kept getting fat, and usually, like, we've seen Goose like swallow very large things, and this Goose's shape, size doesn't change. Right. So the fact that Goose seems to be getting fat is a little weird. And then these weird egg things that kind of look like brains start appearing in different spots on the station, anywhere that there's electricity, essentially, which, I guess that's what Flurkin eggs need to incubate. I guess is electricity, or at least the heat coming from electricity. I don't know. But yeah, Goose suddenly has dozens of children. But that's okay, because they realize that these Fleur kittens can temporarily swallow multiple Saber employees, and then they can fit all the cats into one of the pods easily. All to the tune of memories from cats, and I about died the minute that this was excited.
I was laughing so hard, I was almost crying. Tears of laughter. It was just like, oh.
And these people are running because they don't want to get swallowed by a Flurkin, but they don't really have a choice in the matter.
It's just like, just go with it. You'll be fine. They will spit you out.
Oh my god, so funny. So funny. And then they
try and then the same
you got
herding
Nick
cats.
Fury. And then you got Nick Fury and Kamala's parents and brother literally herding cats.
Yes.
Into this escape pod. And then when they take off and then they're in zero gravity, you've got all these flirt kittens floating around. It's so funny.
Yep. It's so good. So it's just like, oh, yeah.
And then they finally land in a park in New York City, along the Hudson. And then the flirt kittens just start spitting the saber sword employees back at. And it's just so funny.
And it's just like you're waiting for J and K from MIB to come and start doing the memory wipe on all these civilians.
Yeah, sorry. This is New York. They have seen weirder at this point.
Yes,
so.
True. But you know what I'm getting at.
It's been more than a decade since the Battle of New York. So
yeah,
not everyone is Donna Noble and misses everything. So
right, exactly.
And hey, they landed in New York, so it's not that far to Jersey to the Con House. But yeah, they figure the Saber base has to be abandoned for now. Which again, having this post-secret invasion makes sense. And so all those people are safe. So now it's just a matter of stopping, Darben from destroying Earth. Because that, after destroying a couple other planets, where else are you going to go? Earth. Why not? But they figure out how to stop her. She has the other bangle, the pair to Kamala's, and between using that and their different abilities, they're able to stop her. And then they realize that if they infuse their energy into Monica, that Monica can close the breakage in the jump point web. But in doing so, she is going to be trapped in another universe, because right now with it open, alternate universes could spill into our universe. So then she ends up getting trapped in another universe. So she's temporarily separated from Carol and everybody. But it's not going to be forever. She's not dead. She's just in a different universe.
No,
we've been here before.
And she was. And she was more than willing to make that sacrifice too.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then because the damage to the Khan's house, I guess, is too much to deal with. So they move into the Rambo household in Louisiana. And in the meantime, Carol and Kamala are friends. Are gonna hang out. But Kamala has got plans to keep busy, and decides to pull a Nick Fury.
Yes, and a pretty dang decent impersonation, to say the least.
15 years to our first ever post-credit sequence with Nick Fury coming to visit Tony Stark. And Kamala decides she's going to do the same thing and start, recruiting folks for the Young Avengers, starting with Kate Bishop.
Yeah.
At this point, Kate Bishop really does not have a choice, because she's already been propositioned by Natasha's sister.
Right.
And now she's got Kamala coming to proposition to her too. So sorry, Kate Bishop, you're going to have to join the Young Avengers. You've already been asked twice. Yeah, this is how it works. But that was cool.
Do you really want to have to deal with Val?
Build again. Yeah. And in the process of tried to recruit Kate Bishop. Kamala's like, did you know Ant-Man has a daughter? So it's like, of course they're gonna go after Cassie as stature. Who else at this point? We could kind of assume we'll get Natasha's sister, although at this point she's not really a teenager, but she's young enough. She's 30 something or whatever, like most of these superheroes were when they started. Except for Natasha.
Someone to kind of head mentor the crew.
Yeah. I mean, she has a lot of training from being a former Black Widow. So yeah.
Right.
She does. It's just a matter of, is she going to Young Avengers, or is she going to stick with a certain ex-wife of a certain colonizer?
Yeah.
Who is developing her own group and would probably rather have a former Black Widow on her team. And is Kate going to end up having to decide which team to go with?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're potentially putting Kate in a rock and a hard place. Because I mean, from what I've seen, most people expect well, I mean, we know that the rich version of Captain America we had in Falcon and the Winter Soldier is going there to the Thunderbolts. And I think most people are expecting Yelena to go to the Thunderbolts as well. So, I guess it's just
she might do a double deal, secret agent, and do both.
I don't know. Because, I mean, she's very dedicated to her family.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why, she was doing what she was doing in Hawkeye. Because she was convinced that Clint was the reason Natasha was dead. But then when she found out that wasn't the case, then her loyalties switched. But at the same time, she also has at least some sort of, that's the thing, is does she have an allegiance to our Valentina, Val. She's being called Val, but does she actually have a loyalty to Val, or does Val have something on her, and that's why she was working for Val? So that's the thing, is we don't know. So there's still a little, I guess that's something they're going to figure out. But I would hope after hanging around with Clint Barton that Kate Bishop's first inclination would be to go with the gal that's with Nick Fury, So, hopefully that continues to be the case. But still, I guess we'll have to see how that plays out with that. And then we have our mid-credit scene, which, if you're all like, oh no, Monica, she's ended up in another universe, which one did she end up in? Well, we don't know which one as far as numbering is concerned. Thank you, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, for your weird numbering protocol. Alternate Christine going screwing everything up. I'm just going to blame it on the fact that Christine is not part of our universe and therefore did not know what numbering system we were using. Because 616 just rolls off the tongue a whole lot easier than 19999 or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't know which universe exactly Monica is in. We know it's not the same one that Doctor Strange ended up in with Christine.
Nope.
And then that numbering system with Captain Carter and certain stretchy guy from the Fantastic Four.
Yep.
Among others.
Uh-huh.
And a certain Professor X. He's dead in that universe, and he is mentioned outright in this particular universe by none other than Kelsey Grammer's Beast. Hank McCoy. At least a version of Kelsey Grammer's Beast.
Yes.
AKA Hank McCoy. So, she gets found by someone, and what are you going to do? You're going to put her in some sort of medical facility, and therefore she needs to be looked after by a doctor. And who is a doctor? Hank McCoy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Proudly serving his namesake in another franchise universe.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But yeah, he specifically says, he mentions Charles. So it can't be the Charles that we've already seen, because that Charles is dead. So this has to be a different universe where a version of Charles Xavier is still alive. Presumably it's still Patrick Stewart.
I'm hoping. And we get the X-Men theme music subtly playing through the scene as well. I'm just like, ooh, I know where we're going.
Yeah. But there is also an alternate version of Monica's mother, Maria, who's not, presumably not a mother in this universe to anybody. Right. But she is binary in this universe, which is actually one of Captain Marvel's other names. That Captain Marvel has gone by. So, Maria Rambeau in this universe is a mutant, and is binary, known as binary. So, we'll have to wait and see which universe this is exactly, and who all is in this one. Because, I mean, binary in the X-Men is not one that we've seen. Who knows which other X-Men we may or may not know well when we return to this. And obviously at some point, likely, Monica will get rescued and may or may not bring some of these X-Men with her. Because my theory, which I've talked to Nick and some other people about this, is when we do get the X-Men in our universe, Earth 616 as the MCU universe I'm calling it, I think it's going to be a potluck of mutants from different universes. I don't think they're all going to come from one particular universe. I think they're going to be a mix, because you've already got Kamala, who's in this universe, who has already been labeled as a mutant. And then you've got, we know that there is some form of mutants team X-Men in the one universe that Doctor Strange went to, but Charles was killed. But that does not mean that the X-Men that he was leading can't necessarily find their way at some point. And I think as far as like casting is concerned, and trying to bring in probably a combination of X-Men that people know, just even if they just know them by name, like if you rattle off the X-Men that people probably know best, just, even if you just name drop them: Wolverine, Beast, Cyclops, Storm, Jubilee. I mean, that's 5 right there off the top of my head. But there are so many. There's so many mutants that have not been have either not been portrayed in film yet, or had very limited screen time. Everyone knows Magneto. Everybody knows Rogue. Everybody knows. I mean, we had Juggernaut. That was cool. He has a really awesome theme song. Colossus, who is quite funny. Nightcrawler. But I mean, there's so many others out there that have not had an opportunity to be represented. That's the thing with mutants, is there's just so many of them. They could. I really think that as far as casting is concerned, they're gonna have the most wiggle room, because so many of these characters we've already seen played by at least 2 different actors. Obviously, Logan / Wolverine being the one exception. But with the younger and older versions of a lot of these characters, with Magneto and even Charles and the like. So if they want to cast these a third time, it's going to be easiest to pull them from different universes, I think. And then that way they can be like, oh, this is, if they want to do some of the ones we recognize, they can be like, oh, we'll pull Storm and, I don't know, Kitty Pryde from this one. And we'll pull Cyclops and, I don't know, Dazzler from this other one. That way they can utilize the because I mean, we're doing the multiverse for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go shopping within the multiverse is the thing. But that being said, I think that the character that is probably going to be the impetus of all of this, and the one that ties them all together, is Deadpool. I honestly think that Deadpool is going to have a big part in bringing the X-Men into the MCU properly. So, because he's here. We've got him. He came with the Fox deal, and we know we're getting Deadpool 3 next year. We know that a version of Wolverine appears in it with Hugh Jackman. So odds are we're going into another universe. I mean, because with the last Deadpool, we already did he already effed with the timelines. So why not go multiverse with Deadpool in the process? And that's the kind of thing that Deadpool would do, is like, he would just start grabbing people and like, you're coming with me now. And eventually Deadpool is going to end up in 616, probably with a pocket full of people that maybe came, of their free will, probably some of them not. And he will absolutely break the fourth wall and point out the fact that these are people that you may or may not have. That's my theory. So, I don't know if you got your own theory, Holly, or if you thought that far ahead.
Not yet, but I'm liking what you're putting down.
Okay. We've parked a lot of things in the background, but it's like, we know the X-Men are coming. We know the X-Men are coming. We know the Fantastic Four are coming. Maybe Deadpool has something to do with the Fantastic Four as well. I don't know.
Right.
So, but I could be completely off base, but honestly, as funny and, kind of not that serious the Deadpool movies are, Deadpool also takes his responsibilities kind of seriously. So, if somebody's like, we need you, he's going to be like, absolutely. I mean, he's going to give you the finger probably and insult you in the process, but he'll still do it. So, but I guess we'll have to wait till next summer when we get Deadpool 3 to know for sure. So, but yeah, I was just like, I was like, is it yeah. I had to listen for a second. I'm like, is that Kelsey Grammer's voice? And I'm like, by Jove, it is. So, but yeah, I can't necessarily see them pulling Kelsey Grammer in long term as Hank. Although I imagine these days that Hank is probably a lot of CGI and not makeup, like back in the day, when they were making those X-Men films.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, obviously, they can limit it to him being an actual literal doctor and scientist, and then that also makes it a lot easier on Kelsey Grammer. Yeah, I think maybe we'll still see a familiar face or hear a familiar voice or two, but I think for the most part they are going to do their own casting for the X-Men, and it's just going to be they're from a different universe. Mm-hmm. Therefore, this is not Kelsey Grammer. This is not Halle Berry. This is not Jennifer Lawrence.
Right.
So, or whoever. So, as fun as some of those are, and I know some people have their opinion on Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I'm looking at my husband through the wall. He really loves Wolverine as a character. So it's like, get it right. He really liked Logan. He liked the film Logan. So, I hopefully, we get to see well-trained actor as Professor X again one more time. But at the same time, he's also pushing like 90. So,
yeah.
So, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I liked it. I'm glad I got to see it at the movie theater. I just think that the Marvel movies are best enjoyed on a big screen with a good sound system. Mm-hmm. And I'm never going to be able to listen to Memory from Cats and have the same way experience ever again.
Yeah.
Oh, well played, Marvel. Well played. Every so often they do that. They'll find a well-known song and use it in a way that's like, okay, you got me.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep.
Again, I'm looking at you, Deadpool 2. Can't listen to Dolly Parton's 9 to 5 and get the same images in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts?
Nope. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you do. You're not going to be disappointed. Don't pay attention to the Debbie Downers critics. Mm-hmm. They do not know what they are talking about. This is a fantastic Marvel movie.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I will acquiesce that the strike probably didn't help, and that because then they were not able to do promotion.
Correct.
Because I know how important doing these red carpets and the press junkets are to even the most popular stuff. IPs or whatever. The being able to do promotion makes a huge difference. So I will acquiesce that the strike not ending, quote unquote, in time probably made a difference in some of its box office performance. But as this is a film with 3 female leads, including 2 of them of color, directed by a woman and written by 3 women and directed by one of those women who's also a woman of color, you know that the haters also had something to do with this. So, because in general, the consensus on things like Rotten Tomatoes says it's funny and refreshingly brief, which, you know, I guess after, like, you know, Infinity War and Endgame being 3 hours apiece, brief is good. Because this one didn't need to be very long.
No, it didn't.
You know, there could have been a few spots where maybe they could have given maybe a bit more exposition for those that weren't necessarily caught up on everything. But for the most part, you know what you need to know in less than 2 hours. And elevated by the chemistry of its 3 leads. And that's definitely the case. Like, you could tell that these 3 got on together well. You know, the relationships between the 3 and their you know, the characters, as you know, they did not divert from what we expect from these characters if you know these characters already. I mean, Kamala, she jumped straight from her Disney Plus series right into the film. We even get some of the same visual effects.
Yes, which is so cool.
With the comics and stuff and her hand drawings to bridge the two. And I mean, Kamala, it's exact same personality we had in Miss Marvel. I mean, this picks up literally where Miss Marvel, the Miss Marvel series ends, with her accidentally switching spots with Carol. You know, Monica is definitely, you know, the no funny business sword/saber agent she was when she gets her memories back in WandaVision. And Carol is exactly Carol, you know, the Carol we've seen in the film so far. And, you know, the personalities still work, but they stay true to the character, and the way it's written, just, it makes sense. It absolutely works. So, you know, I applaud our script writers for that. It's directed really well. Like I said, you know, with an hour and 45 minutes compared to what we're used to, that's nothing for an MCU film. But this one doesn't. This is not one of those that needs to be just bulging at the seams with information. This is. I mean, it is setting up stuff, but not a whole lot.
Right.
Yeah, we've got bigger, worse things that are coming down the pipeline. So some of that we'll talk about next week when we stay within the MCU, but go back to Disney Plus. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yep.
Yeah. For all time, protect the sacred timeline. Yeah. So, there's not every single MCU movie needs to be the Avengers or Infinity War or Endgame or Winter Soldier, or, you know, stuff like that. Some of them could just be fun. And that's exactly what this is. So,
yeah,
you know, if it, you know, it's been what, 2 weeks since it got released. And I know in my local theater, they're already trimming back how many showings it's presenting on a daily basis. So, you know, how it's doing the box office determines how long a film stays in your local movie theater. So if you want to see it on the big screen, you need to do it sooner rather than later. But yeah. Oh, well. So, that being said, it is the best opening figure for a Black female director. So,
yay! Woot woot.
So yeah, if any of our listeners want to give their 2 cents about the Marvels, which I know we're going to get some feedback from Shalane. Thank you, Shalane.
Yes.
And maybe from Aaron as well. Thank you, Aaron. You can, if anyone else besides Shalane and Aaron want to send us feedback, you can email us, fiveishfangirls@gmail.com. Or you can go to our website, which is the fiveishfangirls.com, where you can connect with all our various social media accounts, and all of our little personal ones as well, if you want to follow us individually, which I highly recommend at least following our the show's social media accounts, as we're recording this, I will be at GalaxyCon in Columbus, Ohio this weekend.
Woot woot.
So hopefully going to see Zan.
Yay.
When she's there. Obviously, her husband Chris is going to be there the entire weekend, so make sure you go see Chris Sprouse in the artist area. Tell him who you are. Tell him you're a listener of the Fiveish Fangirls and or Gold Standard. He will know what you're talking about.
Yes.
And maybe Sam will be there, and maybe I'll be there, hanging out too. But I'm not this year, unlike last year, where I was like getting so many photo ops and so many autographs. This year, not so much. So I have like 2 autographs to get and 1 photo op. Otherwise, I will be wandering, hopefully actually going to panels this time, because I did not go to a single panel last year. So hopefully I'll get a chance to check out what panels are like at this particular event. But yeah, I will be posting on probably mostly our Instagram. So that's the best place. But our Instagram feeds into our Twitter, which also feeds into our Facebook. So there's that. So links for all that are on the website. There's also the link to the book club, which Holly mentioned earlier. So you can go and get your vote in for that and or join the current discussion. So there's that. If you wish to financially support us, which we always appreciate, but definitely kind of want to point out a little more obviously this time of year, as you're shopping online and or thinking of paying it forward. As we're recording this, tomorrow is Giving Tuesday. So we do have some Amazon wish lists. If you wish to purchase from those, if you're already on Amazon buying stuff anyway, maybe you don't have Prime and you need to add something to your cart to get free shipping. There you go. Or even if you want to because you have free shipping, even better. There's that. Or if you just want to give us a straight donation, don't want to have to worry about worrying about something shipping and getting to the right place at the right time or whatever. You can do that too with a link to our PayPal, which is also on every page of the website if you just scroll down to the bottom. So there is that. So, but we really appreciate everyone's support, whether it's a like or a repost or sending in feedback or giving us your money. It's all good. We all appreciate it. Hopefully you all aren't still in a turkey coma from Thanksgiving for those who celebrate. And then what did my husband make for dinner tonight? Turkey with mashed potatoes and gravy. Which isn't even Thanksgiving leftovers because we went somewhere else. He just made turkey and mashed potatoes and gravy because he could.
Nothing wrong with that, though.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Smother anything in gravy. It's all good.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, I guess unless there's anything else we need to touch upon?
Don't think so.
All right, then. In that case, we shall sign off for this week.
All right. This is Holly from Wisconsin saying good evening.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Okay. No more touching shit, especially glowing, mysterious shit.
Perfect way to end it.
Thank you for listening to the Fiveish Fangirls. Please visit thefiveishfangirls.com for details on how to further support the show, along with information on our nonprofit, Fangirls Give Back. We love our Fiveish fam and appreciate all of your feedback, shares, and encouragement. Remember to keep letting your geek flag fly.